to top 6, Steve 7. And as I was talking, I was like, Wailmer, Wailmer. And then the crowd all around is going, Wailmer, Wailmer. And it is going to be the first time in the world that there has ever been a crowd cheering for Wailmer. I can't imagine any other circumstance.
Welcome everybody to the Poke Battle Network. It is I, Sosaflow, and we are down here in Studio B today to take a look at one of the extremely XL crazy Pokemons here in the Polkadot Cup that are used for basically specialists. And who better than to talk about this specialty Pokemon than the specialist himself, our good friend PVPSteve. How you doing today, PVPSteve?
Doing well, Sosa, doing well. Now, I mean, specialists might be a little bit of a stretch, but let's just say there's not a lot of people who sort of dive into, I should have emphasized that, pun not intended, dive in to use this whale Pokemon, right? Really try and make a splash.
Whoa, beat me to that.
I've been working all week just writing down whale puns. I'm ready.
You are so ready. Well, we're wonderful to have you here. Steve, we're talking about Wailmer here. It is number 37 on the Polkadot list. Like, wait, not so far down below as you might think it would be here. But in the Polkadot Cup, it is actually that health that gives it that wonderful boost in the tournament. And then it also has access to that body slam. And then numerous access to frustration return, heavy slam. I believe it's water pulse was the other big water move, right? Sir, you're the specialist. What access moves do you suggest this Pokemon has here in the Polkadot Cup?
Yeah, look, Wailmer is a sort of interesting Pokemon. So as you said, it's very much sort of reliant on that bulk. And I think the main thing for it is the Water Gun Body Slam combo. So Water Gun providing that really sort of fast damage that really adds up. There's a lot of sort of like Legen is in this meta as a fire type. Talonflame is sometimes around as well. So Water Gun alone gives you some decent work up against those fire types, while also having a lot of bulk to be able to soak up like all of that damage. Like even if you get hit by, I think against Blaziken, for example, you can actually just Water Gun down and burn a shield on the potential Stone Edge. I could be wrong on that. You might actually need to go for the Body Slam, but Wailmer like really handily sort of takes those matchups. Single moved, and it's not like it's back in the day, back in Silpharina Season 1. I sort of remember those times where you had to go like, these are your budget picks that you don't need to spend the dust on a second move, because I know that you won't have dust for second move. You're still building all these Pokemon. Nowadays that we sort of have more of these Pokemon built, we have a little bit of extra access to that dust to be able to get the second move. In Wailmer's case, the second move only costs that 10k Stardust, so it's actually not too expensive. You can kind of go for either of the, I think Heavy Slam or Water Pulse are potentially both viable. I'd probably caution more towards the Heavy Slam, just because I don't think the Water Pulse is super necessary when you already have that Water Gun damage with the Body Slam action going on as well. Because the fire types in this meta, now it would be fantastic, and I'm sure there's going to be scenarios where you farm up a ton of energy on Wailmer, and then a Blaziken comes in with no shields, and you throw the Water Pulse, and bada bing, bada boom, you've nailed it. But I think that it's more likely that you're just going to be able to get through those matchups with pure Body Slam spam, because like the fire types, none of them are bulky. There's no bulky fire type hanging around in this meta, really hanging around in PvP at all. Fire is not a typing that tends to lean on the bulky side. They tend to be a bit more attack weighted. So by having that Body Slam spam, you're actually able to do a lot of damage anyway, and sort of just overwhelm them, push them away. And, you know, I mean, I think there is use for it though, because obviously there's ground types as well that you could do a fair bit of damage with Water Pulse as well. But, you know, either way, you know, maybe do some practice if you really want to use the Wailmer. Get an idea for yourself.
I like that. You're right. The fire types are pretty weak. There aren't as many. There's an XL version of Wailmer, but it is Lit Leo. And it can't really take the Water Gun either. Like a Body Slam, it's neutral damage to that normal typing as well. Not that great. The Talonflame might be the thickest one out there. I've seen a few flying around because of the bug typing, but again, you got that Water Gun, man, and that Water Gun pressure. What's the Talonflame gonna do? Flame charge you? Brave Bird you so they debuff themselves so water gun can just do more oppressive damage? Absolutely not. Like, Wailmer has great opportunity. That could be said for any water gunner, but Wailmer here has that tank possibility there. And you mentioned how cheap it is on the secondary move. Well, that's because you'll be spending most of your dust on the XL, but it'll be totally worth it. Just as good as Araquanid here is doing. Wailmer there is tanky, so that opportunity there will be able to get you. Now, there is 36 different normal typing out there, so that body slam spam is definitely needed. There's about 24 ground types out there as well. That's why the heavy slam is preferred, because you get to it a little quicker than you would a water pulse, I feel. And like you said, you don't really need that water pressure. Now, if you had surf or like bubble beam, sure, like great with Wailmer bait potential. But yeah, not really.
Wailord does have access to surf, but it's not as bulky. So I'm pretty sure Wailord is running a body slam surf. But yeah, because you don't have, actually this meta is also whitelist, so I'm not actually confident that you can use Wailord. I'm pretty sure that it's on the list.
It is. It's Wailmer and Wailord are both on the list.
Yeah, both. Yeah, actually, you mentioned in that other video. Yeah, for sure. But I think Wailmer's sort of more access to bulk really helps it to have a bit more of a place in the meta than something like Wailord, who, like, as much as Water Gun is a move that works, we've seen Lanterns do pretty well in it. In the Open Great League, Water Gun Lantern, Dialap famously sort of bringing that to day 2 and performing incredibly well for it in play Pokemon. It doesn't really get Wailord as far, and you're very much relying on being able to take a hit while you throw at least 2 body slams to try and weaken something down. Because, like, in this meta, so there's the fire types, the ground types as well, so you do really well against the things that, like, Sand Slash, you do pretty well. Nidoking, I've actually seen a fair few Nidokings running around in this meta. Wailmer does really well against those. And then, obviously, like, you're not doing that great against the electric types, but the electric types, sort of similarly to the fire types, don't have a lot of bulk. So, like, things like Galvantula here, they actually take a fair amount of damage from a body slam. And I've got this sort of anecdote in my head just because, obviously, I was sort of prepared for the Open Great League. But in the Syndey Regionals, I was talking with Anicore13, one of my opponents, about Wailmer. And we sort of, like, were doing some PvP poke sims, and we found out that against a Water Gun Lantern, Wailmer's actually able to get it down to, like, 40 health, just going, like, straight body slam. With Water Gun, like, going back and forth. So it's, like, it's very much a Pokemon that isn't going to hard win a whole lot of matchups. It's obviously got the fire types, got ground types, does really well, but it sort of provides you a little bit of a soft win scenario. It puts the opponent's Pokemon in a spot where you can actually get a little bit of farm. And in a meta where there's so much bulk running around, a lot of fast charge moves like Blaziken with Blaze Kick, like Galvantula with those Volt switches, getting up to the discharges and the lunges, a little bit of farm can actually go a long way in this meta. And so I actually think that having a Pokemon like that, having that sort of strategy where you go into a matchup not intending to win, can actually provide you with a pretty big leg up in the Polkadot meta.
Yeah, because basically you can find one Pokemon that really is dominant, but has to, like, just get through one other Pokemon that your opponent has. But then, you know, once that Pokemon's gone, once that Samurott is gone, those fire Pokemon come out. Once that Wailmer's off the table, those fire Pokemon rain terror on the bug and grass Pokemon. So it's a wonderful absolute. So then that is a great segment. So what do you pair with Wailmer? What's some good Pokemons you say would pair well with Wailmer here in the Polkadot Cup?
Yeah, well, I guess as I was saying, Wailmer really does provide the ability to get a little bit of energy on another Pokemon. And a Pokemon that I'm really digging in this cup is Blaziken. And so, like, Blaziken, if you think about what it's sort of weak to, it's generally sort of weak to some of the ground types, can do a lot of damage to that Blaziken. I mean, like, if you get a Sand Tomb off from Nidoking even, it really starts to add up again because Blaziken is that little bit squishy. And so by sort of getting that advantage to get that little bit of energy in there for a bit of a farm down on whatever sort of Wailmer leaves as scraps, you're able to get to. I've seen people run Blast Burn. I've seen people run Stone Edge. I haven't actually seen anyone run Brave Bird yet.
Just now. Literally just came out. Oh.
See, I was looking at you, so I should have been looking on the right-hand side of the screen.
I mean, you're like, I haven't seen anybody with Brave Bird. Look at the second Brave Bird again. Double debuff Blaziken destroyed by
Oh my gosh.
Volt Switch.
I mean, but okay,
Yeah.
so it's happening, right? But Galvantula is then able to get that little bit of farm. It's eating up those little bit of scraps, and now in comes the Linoon, who is going to have to deal with some energy from the Galvantula. So with that said, I think that even with Brave Bird, you need that little bit of an energy advantage to be able to get there comfortably, get that damage onto the opposing Pokemon. You could potentially also go the slightly other way. So Wailmer, very bulky Pokemon, doesn't need shield so much. You can then pair it with even more bulk with, say, normal Castform. I think normal Castform is probably the #1 most used meta pick. I haven't looked at stats, but just looking at people's teams, watching a lot of battles, Castform is everywhere because of the power of that Rock Weather Ball, taking out the bugs, taking out all sorts of things, the flyers. And so by giving that bit of energy to Castform, you can actually get to the spot where you're sort of throwing back-to-back-to-backsy weather balls and doing a fair bit of damage to Pokemon. So you could go a number of different ways with Wailmer. I think that it could pair well with a lot of Pokemon that just need that little bit of an energy up.
Well, we're gonna go and watch a matchup here where we are gonna shoutcast it with the Wailmer love for us here, and I believe the battler has Jumpluff, Castform, so two bulky team Pokemon that you had talked about earlier, and went with the bulk scenario. Blaziken, I agree with, great to pair it with as well. So great concepts there, Steve, and ideas on what to pair with this Pokemon and how to use this Wailmer, as we're gonna go and shoutcast this battler's performance on Wailmer next. All right, so we're down here on the battle floor now. A great analysis there by Steve. We're gonna watch EV2E versus Hit You Hard, two iCarly fan faction team members. I asked for XL Pokemon and they gave me the Wailmer, and we've got that Castform, Steve says, and he's pairing it off with Wailmer. So what's going on here, Steve?
Yeah, so Castform coming in, interestingly not running the double Weather Ball strat that I've seen a lot of people run, trying to catch a move onto the Araquanid, but yeah, running that Grass move onto Roserade, we'll see, onto Castform, sorry, with Energy Ball. We'll see if that comes in handy a little bit later, but now, coming into Araquanid, who isn't going to take a ton of damage, even from a Leaf Storm. Well, that's a bit more than...
Whoa!
I thought Araquanid was bulky, so what's going on?
I thought Araquanid had bug typing in it, and Leaf Storms just nukes everything, and it ignored all of that. The Bug Buzz will come through and get shielded as Araquanid is now gone. I did not think that Leaf Storm was going to do it. The Castform comes back in. It has been used in a lot. Yes, there are two ways of playing this form of Pokemon, with the double Weather Ball or with that Energy Ball. And I understand how both styles are playing at it. That Energy Ball is great against those waters, as he's going right onto it for that Linoon. Now this will be effective and take it to the red, and it's the tackles there. This beautiful tackle adjustment, small, intricate tackle adjustment, now putting extra pressure on that Linoon to throw the energy immediately.
Yeah, really forcing it to throw the move so the Castform can't farm it all the way down. But Wailmer now coming in to farm down the rest of that Linoon's health. Without that extra energy, not able to get another move onto the Wailmer, which means 2-shield Wailmer is now going to be going up against this Oranguru. Oranguru is going to be adding up some damage with the confusions, but this is actually another benefit from the Wailmer, actually going for the swap out, throwing the move on the Wailmer, a little bit of a, hey, what's going on? I still have energy back here, but it was just the Weather Ball, so actually it would have been able to take that pretty easily, and now just going to be able to water gun all the way down.
Steve, I think he has 120 energy. There's about 3 body slams coming out from this water gunner now, as there's 1 shield left on Hit You Hard. EV2E in the driver's seat. The Wailmer just gonna spam away. Look at that, almost to the second one there. There's still a shield on the Oranguru. Oranguru has been a top confusion user because it has access to that foul play, which is effective against those other psychic Pokemon like Zubat and like Girafarig. So be out on the lookout for Oranguru, as Wailmer though with the tank and with the water gun and body slam spam says no thank you.
Yeah, and look, that was actually really showing off another one of the benefits of Wailmer in that it's got a one-turn move in Water Gun. So you can actually time the moves really well when you're up against something that's got confusion, like Oranguru. You can just go, 1, 2, 3, throw the move. So you maximize your energy gains, you maximize your damage, and you minimize the opportunity for the opponent to get any extra energy on you. So really, I mean, it's why we've seen one-turn moves come up so often in the play Pokemon scene, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'll do you one better. In this meta specifically, there are more than just confusion out there. You've got Volt Switches, you've got Incinerates, there is counter every once in a while, but a lot more confusion, a lot more Volt Switch, and a lot more Incinerate users out there, where the one-turn moves like Tackle, like Fairy Wind, like Water Gun, real oppressive, real good, and could actually help get you that kind of play style in taking the shield if that is your play style. This meta has been really great for team builders to kind of build around their kind of play style, whether you're I'm a force to be reckoned with, weather ball, spammy, body slam, take your shield, or I'm a tank, I'm gonna take a couple of energy, soak up, save swap, and get you at the end there. As Araquanid comes in on Samurott here.
Yeah, now this is one of the Pokemon that you are going to be running that Energy Ball on Castform for. The water types that are so hard to actually counter. But Araquanid actually in a pretty decent spot with the water bug typing, correctly shielding the Mega Horn, which would have done a nice chunk of damage onto the Araquanid. And now just going for that Bubble Beam to try and debuff the Samurott and take a little bit less damage in the next.
Maybe get a shield? Oh. Thought for sure maybe go for a shield, think that maybe the Araquanids might be going for something else. But here comes the next move by the Samurott. Samurott, one of the top tier water Pokemon in this meta so far. A lot of people rocking it as well as the Castform as Linoon comes back to see this Bubble Beam.
Yeah, we're unfortunately getting into a spot where the opponent is swapping into a Pokemon, locking themselves in, and so now with the Araquanid able to get that Bubble Beam debuff in, locked, and it cannot escape now. It is just going to have to power through this matchup with a reduced attack stat, and it is going to get even worse because now Nidoking is coming in, going to be throwing the Sand Tomb to now debuff the defense of the opposing Pokemon. They are being debuffed on all fronts. This is not going well for the opponent at all, but he's going to get that, debuffed Grass Knot onto Nidoking, which does okay.
The defense was debuffed. That Grass Knot was not as effective. And Steve, the top 10 Pokemon all have a debuff in this meta this cup. So it is incredible as the second shield is coming out for that Nidoking again with another debuff ready to go. And I want to take a note. This line isn't a Wailmer line, but our battler here is using the Araquanid just like the Wailmer. It is kind of the similar thing. Has a one-turn fast move, water type, tanky, can go against the grass here at this point, which is kind of what Wailmer lead, and then into that bug typing for your game 2 to bring back the Wailmer for game 3. I like the playstyle as the Sandtoon gets shielded by this Roserade.
Yeah, again, getting into a spot where the opponent's Pokemon is debuffed, but the debuffs are not stopping and then won't stop coming. Now going in for the attack debuff on top of the defense debuff. There is just, as you said, so many debuffs going around in this meta. We've got Psychic Fangs running around as well. It is not a meta to stay with your main full stats. But able to take the Weather Ball going down there, and now it's going to be, I guess, a choice of trying to tackle down because there are no more shields in play for Castform, but able to get there.
Let me tell you something. Castform can take a Leaf Blade, and Energy Ball has potential to debuff. There's another Pokemon, Sandslash, who has 2 debuff and buff move on it. Like, lots of Pokemon here with buff abilities. You've got Galvantula with the buff. You've got, or a debuff on it. You've got Jumpluff with debuff moves on it as well. As we see the Wailmer get locked immediately by EV2E. Like we said before, Pokemon that we're pairing with this team seems to be really well having that Araquanid to play against your opponent. As he gets the Sandshrew lead. If you're an opponent, you're top left and immediately. That's RPS from here on out. Ooh, as the Roserade comes in, the poison, and there it is. The bug typing water for that grass type, Steve.
Yeah, now interesting play by Eevee here, farming up the energy on the Wailmer, but now going into the Arachnid, we saw how much damage that Leaf Storm did earlier, so does not want to see that again, and correctly shielding the Leaf Storm, wasting all of the energy from the Rose Raid, and of course, leaving that Rose Raid with a debuff after throwing that Leaf Storm as well. But at this point, I think this is just going to be a Weather Ball to try and do a little bit of... Oh no, it's another Leaf Storm!
Don't worry, this was debuffed
wow.
Leaf Storm. That didn't do too much damage. It's still in the red, and in comes that Talonflame. We talked about it earlier. There's 2 bubble beams ready to go. We'll see if he can get both of them off in time before the Incinerates burn through. The second one came through. In comes another bubble beam. Now the Incinerates aren't going to do much. He might be able to get to a 3rd bubble beam, Steve. This would be nuts.
Okay, I don't think we're getting quite...
Oh, he can!
But...
He can!
Oh, he can!
He got it! And he made the swap!
Oh, no. So we've got 2 Pokemon in the back. Sandslash and Talonflame. Both of these Pokemon, neither of them want to see this Wailmer, right? Wailmer is just going to be water gunning away, throwing these body slams. Sandslash, not a particularly bulky Pokemon either, so having to burn that first shield on the first body slam, and already here comes another body slam coming out into the Sandslash. And even better, Wailmer can tank any move from that Sandslash. Just take it on the chin. On that very large lined chin of that Wailmer's packing. But now at this point, just gonna be able to tank it, and this Sandslash is basically just beached at this point. Gonna have to just keep eating those water guns. He's gonna get one more charge move, but I have a feeling that we might potentially see a shield out of Eevee here. No shield, no need.
No need. Oh, I thought he could farm it down with the water gun. Nope, just 2 HP and a dream left on that K-Slash, but there is a full, healthy Cast form sitting in the back that's going to get 2 taps or 1 and build up for that Weather Ball rocket. Oh! Oh, a Arachnid! How do you be used like that? The Flame Charge just gone. 2 shields now, and the Incinerates, even though they are boosted, aren't going to be doing too much damage, unlike a Confusion, but not going to take it, not worried. If it's a Brave Bird, he's in trouble, but he counts properly as the 2 Incinerates will lead to a Flame Charge.
Yeah, definitely, you know, it's a rough call to have to make. It can always go really wrong, but able to just tackle all the way down there, not even needing the Rock Weather Balls. I think if you actually just stayed in and took the Flame Charge initially, you could maybe try and dip out, go for the Bubble Beam, but then you would probably, potentially, just be taking that shield off of the Talonflame, and then you'd still be sort of trying to look to tackle all the way down. But in the end, I don't think that it was the star of the show, but I'm going to give the award to Wailmer. For just having that really nice matchup up against the Sandslash, able to soak up all of the energy so that Eevee could come back in and just take the rest of the energy from that Sandslash, so that Talonflame did not really have anywhere else to go.
I don't know how you didn't give it to Wailmer. I did in game 1. Wailmer came out, showed pure dominance, took charge moves right to the face, built up the energy, and played around the entire opponent. At that moment, Hit You Hard had to be worried that it was coming in game 2, and it kind of did, but wasn't the same kind of Wailmer. Like the grass typing, we saw what Leaf Storm did, okay? We all saw what it did to that bug, but he learned, put up the shield, and that bug bite destroyed the grass typing, which then gave Wailmer some extra activity to start spamming off those body slam spams. Remember, game 3, it had 3 body slams ready to go on a Rangaroo, and just totally put that pressure down to force the Talonflame to just throw Flame Charge. Couldn't even be bothered to build up another 5-turn move because tackles were coming in hot, water guns were coming in hot, so that had to throw the Flame Charge, which gave Eevee the extra shield for the later down the line. Great play by both of the battlers there, but that Wailmer there, the macro of the Wailmer definitely spotlight was huge. The water gun, the tankiness, well done by both battlers. Great play. Steve, are you sold on Wailmer and Polkadot Cup, sir?
Look, I'll be honest though, sir. I don't think I needed to see any of these battles to be sold on Wailmer in the Polkadot Cup. I think I was going to be running it in any tournament I was going in.
I wasn't asking about the battle, sir. I was asking on, are you because we've had Pokemon that we really love. We've seen them. They're right there on the cusp. You want them to work so bad, but they just can't. They just aren't fit. You aren't working for your team build. They just can't give you that oomph that you need. But you're saying that Wailmer, you're building around Wailmer is basically what you're telling everybody.
Flow. Strong trainer, strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon. Those are words, perceptions from selfish trainers. Real skilled trainers try to win with their favorites. And I think at this point, Wailmer is just set to ride off into the sunset.
Good luck to you and Wailmer throughout your Polkadot journey. We are halfway through, almost finishing up the second wave. Season 5 is coming to an end here soon. So good luck as you are making your push to Ace.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Maybe this is the year. World champion incoming with Wailmer.
Hope it's allowed in Sylph Worlds. Like, how terrible would that be? You ride it all the way through the entire season, and then they're like, well, Worlds is gonna be banned. Like, it's drafted and someone bans it on you. No.
I'll just go home. This isn't for me. Sorry, guys. Maybe next time.
Well, thank you, sir, for your wonderful insight on the Wailmer. It has been wonderful to talk to you about this small, extra large Pokemon. As we wrap up here, a huge thank you to PVPSteve for his insight into the Wailmer for this Polkadot Cup. If you have one and have gotten enough XLs to build one, this might be the Pokemon that you need for your team as the water gun tank. Steve, is there any other things you'd like to tell the audience members about Polkadot, about Wailmer, before we say goodbye?
Look, Wailmer, it's not number 1 on PvPoke. It's not number 2. It's not number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's down in the 30s. It's not the meta-defining Pokemon. But I think that one of the most important things for Pokemon Go PvP is that you have fun. And if you're like me, and part of the fun is sort of battling with these sort of fresh and unique Pokemon, having a little bit of a laugh as you go, like, oh my gosh, Wailmer was OP in that battle, then I think that Wailmer is definitely one of those Pokemon that can sort of provide that for you in this meta, while also being a legitimately strong Pokemon when you're trying to hard counter that Blaziken that is so prevalent in this meta, trying to take out the Catworm. And actually, Donphan as well. Both of the sort of main counter users. Wailmer's there, ready to support you. So give your Wailmer a hello.
Give your Wailmer a hello indeed. Thank you, Steve, for joining us. Be sure to follow Steve. We'll have links down below on where to find him if you haven't.
Oh, look, of course, guys, this is so important. If you haven't subscribed to Pokebattle Network 1, button's down below. Free of charge. You can just click it. You know.
Also, be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all of the amazing Sylph content and long-term battling that we are going to be giving all of you out there, as we provide so much content with so many amazing battlers coming in and giving us great analysis like Steve. So be sure to hit like and comment down below if there's a Polkadot Cup Pokemon that you have found has been your Wailmer of a team. Thank you all for watching Pokebattle Network. Thank you, PVPSteve, for joining us. I'm Flo, and like always, enjoy your battles.